Welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We're here to raise your confidence and inspire your creativity. Each episode, we will have a different guest who will be discussing our Raise word. The Raise word is a word that will encourage you or empower you and at times inspire you to explore the word a little more for yourself. Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Raise podcast. I'm Carol Barwick. We are doing our little Christmas season at the moment. Last time we talked to a brilliant person about the word believe, and today we're going to look at the word star. And we have a really exciting guest today, particularly for me. It is Elliot Broadfoot. He's been nominated for a Rising Star Award, currently touring with the Stock Aitken and Waterman musical. And I am very excited to be talking to him this morning. Elliot, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Carol. I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I am so excited to talk to you. I think it's probably been about 15 years since we spoke properly.
Yeah, probably a very, very long time. Yeah.
Excellent. Before we dive into all of that and how we met and that stuff, tell me, Elliot, what does the word star mean to you?
I think it's got several connotations for me. But the one I held on to the most is I read this great quote that said, "For a star to be born, there are many things that must happen. A gaseous nebula must collapse. So collapse, burn, struggle. This is not your destruction. This is your birth." And that has always stuck with me so much because I've been like, yeah, you know, when we look scientifically at stars, they're these huge gaseous balls in the sky, but we're seeing them years after they've kind of exploded. So I try and see the word star as a birth, not necessarily as an ending.
Wow. It's really hard to be speechless on the podcast because you just sound like you're ignoring the guest. I'm just listening. My goodness. Wow. When you think about the word star, the word that I don't relate to it is collapse, but yeah. Wow. My goodness, what a deep thing to start with. Where the heck is this going to go?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you're talking about stars as a birth, rebirth, which one?
Both. I think they can be a fresh birth. I think it can be a rebirth, a rediscovery, a shining light. You know, it's and I think both in discovering yourself and birthing a new thing for you. If you follow these lights, these shining paths, at the end of it will be something new for you, a birth of some sort. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I have to ask then, tell us a little bit about your journey through that, because I know you've had one heck of a journey, following both shining lights and probably burning out as well. Tell us all about you.
Well, I'm now very lucky to call myself a professional actor. Something I've wanted to call myself since I have memories. You know, my earliest thoughts are performing and having people watch whatever creative and crazy things I could come up with in my little living room on my estate. And it took a very long time for me to get here. I grew up in Bradford in a very, very poor area, single parent household. My dad left before I was born. My mum doesn't have a great relationship with her family. So just being the two of us kind of really struggling. But I've been so lucky to have my mum by my side because she is my biggest champion. And I would not be here experiencing this amazing life that I've got now was it not for her support. She couldn't afford to send me to a million dance classes and singing classes and acting classes. So I did what I could when she had the money. And we were also very lucky to be surrounded by incredibly generous people who allowed me space to create. You're one of those lovely people, Carol.
It was my privilege, completely.
And so I spent my kind of formative years figuring out where I fit in this world of kind of creative art, theatre. And I found it a big struggle. There weren't many people who looked or sounded like me doing this as a job. And I think that's a huge barrier for a lot of young people.
Yeah.
Is if you can't see yourself represented in a world where you know you belong, it's very hard to feel like the door's open. And I feel very privileged now to be in a position where I can go, look, it might have not felt like the door was open when I was 10, but I kicked it down by the time I was 26.
Amen.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel so much joy and pride. I found it difficult to feel pride in myself and to congratulate myself for the hard work I've put in to get here. But I'm lucky in this cast to be surrounded by people who continuously remind me that I should be incredibly proud to be where I am.
Yeah.
It took a long time for me to train. I don't necessarily think actors need to train.
Okay.
But when I left high school, I was very lost. We'd lost our house. I'd lost one of my grandparents. It had just been a very, very kind of difficult years in the lead up to what should be this great chance to go out into the world and live independently and as an adult and go to university and, you know, see the world for the first time without kind of parents holding your hand or school teachers kind of telling you what you are and what you need to do.
Yeah.
And when I look back on those 5 years, I essentially just kind of, funnily enough, floated in space for 5 years and was just like, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I know where I've got to be. And if I can just trust in whatever plan is out there for me, I can trust in that, I know I will get there. And there was, every year there'd be something, I'd get an opportunity to perform somewhere or I'd meet someone and I'd go, this is it. This is like the bits of the key to put together to unlock the door. So then when I got to, you know, the chance to go to drama school, unfortunately, was during the pandemic, which, you know, was a horrendous time. When I got the chance to go, I was like, there is nothing that is going to get in my way. I have been at rock bottom for the last 5 years, and this is my chance to really prove A to the naysayers and B to myself, most importantly, that I could do this. And so when I opened my blinds and I looked out, I'm in Cardiff at the moment, and I was like, 10-year-old Elliot would not have believed that he'd be sat in a stranger's spare bedroom in Cardiff for the first time playing a supporting lead in a brand new musical.
Yeah.
He knew it could be possible. I just don't think he believed it. And now I feel very proud of myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as you said, that it seemed like everything was stacked against you. So growing up in a really underprivileged area, regardless of the incredible people around you and the people at Emerge and your amazing mother, who I need to have on at some point when I'm ready for everything that she's got to say, because her voice is just incredible and important. But the odds were stacked against you, and there's no doubt about it. When you look at people that are stars and celebrities, money is definitely involved in a lot of it. Even if you come from nothing, as you said, having to pay for the tuition, drama school, or vocal coaching, all that kind of thing costs money. And I love that analogy of just eventually just kicking the door down, that feeling of, no, I'm making this happen. I mean, I remember the first time I met you, I think you were on a karaoke machine, Kel
Yes, I was.
Surprise. And there was this lad in the corner with this incredible curly red hair singing on the karaoke machine. And I remember God saying to me, you need to look after this one, look out for this one. And I was privileged enough to be able to, talk to you loads at school. And you were in the musical that I wrote, Star. I have to say, it was people like you that I wrote the musical for. You
Thank
kind of
you.
just see someone and you think, right, they're going to be this character, and emerge the youth group that we were in. You were as a young person and me as a youth worker. It was just full of characters, wasn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely full of
Oh my
characters.
goodness.
And being able to write something around these people that you love and want to see succeed was such a privilege. I mean, it was a challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah,
My goodness.
a big challenge. Wow.
I remember you, as the cast, having to sit in the audience because we didn't have a backstage.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you did that now in the musical?
Oh my goodness.
Excuse me a minute.
I'm just going to come and sit down. Sorry.
Sit in the front row. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh my gosh. But again, no money. That was hard.
No.
We got a little bit of funding, but we made it work. And more importantly, it did make you all shine. It did.
Yeah, it was a real I think I get quite emotional when I think about it. Because I think about us in that little working men's club stage, and I think about where everyone involved in that is now.
Yeah.
And where they were and who they thought they would be at that time. And yeah, it was a really, really magical experience. I felt very lucky to have you there as a mentor and as a leader and as someone who really believed in the power of creativity and art, and how they can, whether that's what you want to follow, but they can catapult people into their dreams. And the fun I had on that show, the friends I made, the people who are still in my life because of that and because of what you created for us, is wonderful. I think about it. It's my Roman Empire. I'll say I think about it quite frequently. It's a very, very special memory for me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we were just saying just before we came on air that I wish that I'd done like a cast recording, and we were saying trying to get everybody together.
Yeah,
that'd be so difficult now because nearly all of you are just doing the most high power, exciting, important things. Wow. Can you imagine if we just hadn't seen all of the things that we'd seen in all of you? And I really thank God for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, amazing. Tell me a little bit. You're saying about those 5 years when you were rock bottom, and then eventually you got to Leeds Conservatoire. Tell me a little bit about that journey, because that was an important bit, wasn't it, in where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. When I was kind of turning 18 in my final year of college, auditioning for drama school it's on the way to being a lot more affordable, was almost impossible. There was very few training facilities and opportunities north of Watford. And so I would, I'd get an overnight coach to London, 2 or 3 times a month, 6 hours, with a rucksack on, staying for a couple of days, sleeping on the couches of my mum's friends, and paying, upwards of £50 for an audition.
Wow. I didn't know you had to pay. You have to pay for auditions.
You have to. Well, at Leeds Conservatoire, luckily, have never charged audition fees.
Okay.
However, there's a lot of still what the world would view as top high-class drama schools
Yeah.
that will charge you an amount they choose for the privilege of showing them that you're worthy of their time and their space.
Wow.
And the reason I was having to get overnight coaches is because trains to London still to this day
Oh, yeah.
are
Through the roof.
extortionate.
Mm.
And my mum was scrounging every penny she could to ensure I could do it.
Mm.
And the only place I got accepted to didn't offer a course where you could get student finance. So you had to privately fund your own training.
Wow.
And there was not enough money, I don't think, in Bradford at the time who got me to do drama school. And so I was a bit stuck.
Yeah.
And I worked in an office. I did some cabaret work, singing in bars.
Mm.
I tried as much as I could to keep my performing up. I was doing so much amateur theatre, but I was watching my friends who also wanted to do this, living the best life possible. And it was, at a time, probably the most jealousy I've ever felt.
But you grafted, Elliot, and you really grafted.
Oh my
like you were all over social media singing, and it was amazing. Doesn't make it easy, but I just want you to hear that it was noticed. It really was.
But it was at the time the only option.
Yeah.
There's something in my heart that I know this is what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
I was put on this earth. God created me to tell stories through this way.
Yeah. Don't make me cry, Elliot Broadfoot. Don't make me cry. Not yet.
And I know that. And I think I was so lucky that was the one thing that I kept hold of.
Yeah.
Because, when I talked about kind of the term star being about birth and rebirth, I know I lost a lot of who I knew myself as in those 5 years.
Yeah.
And to see who I am today, I know I've got a couple of those things back. Because of the hard work. And it was, the following year I was like, okay, I'll do it again. And still, I wasn't earning enough money to be able to send myself to London for 10 plus auditions. And so I had to pick which ones. So then the odds of me getting in were slimmer. And I think after 2 years, I just gave up. And I went, when the time's right, I'll know.
Yeah.
And so I've got to live this life a little bit. And then the time will be right for me. I worked overseas. I did 2 seasons working in Spain, which was, I think, for my brain, some of the healthiest times I've had.
Okay.
It was, I was out. Like, I used to look at the sea and just look to the horizon and be like, this is heaven. I feel like I'm so safe and I'm doing what I love. It was a really, really strange time for me. And then in the summer of 2019, I flew back just for a weekend, and I saw my singing teacher from high school, Aaron, and we sat in the Nando's in Bradford, and I went, I've got to do this. I can't, the time's now, and I know it. And I was too late I tried to get late admission to Leeds Conservatoire that summer. I was just too late.
Yeah.
And so I got a really lovely email from the head of the course there, Adam, and he said, come and visit whenever you want. But as soon as applications are open, apply and come in and see us, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
Then, unfortunately, the great 2020 happened. And so I was stuck in my 1-bedroom flat in Ilkley, trying to film tapes of me dancing and singing and doing monologues in this tiny kind of box living room that I had.
Yeah.
And there was so much unknown.
Yeah.
And I was going, this is the time. And now it feels like it is literally the rug has been pulled from underneath me.
Yeah.
But I got a place, and we got through that horrendous time.
Yeah.
And the last 3 years, I only graduated this summer, which is, I know I'm incredibly blessed to be in this position of work, having only just graduated.
Yeah.
But the past 3 years, I met people I knew I was meant to meet at this point. I learned things and unlearned things and started to see myself again.
Yeah.
And yeah, so to be here today, I feel very blessed to have been nominated for this great award.
Yeah.
And I think the wording of it, I remember when it came through, whenever people mention star, I can't help but think about you, Carol. And I just think there was something special in what we made back then that I think that was maybe my first step on this path.
Wow.
To being where I am.
Wow.
Yeah, so thank you.
Wow, it's such a privilege to have Elliot on and just to hear his wisdom and his inspiration. Do stick around at the end because, as Elliot and I were talking about, I wrote this musical Star and I have found one song that we did do as a cast, so we'll put that on as a bonus feature. And if you need to jingle all the way, you're looking for a jingle for your podcast or your small business videos, please get in touch with me. I love writing jingles and doing that for people. Back to the episode. Wow, what an incredibly powerful journey. Of course, we now need to tell people what your destination is because it's a whopper. Talk about stars. So those people that know me well will know that I am a Stock, Aitken and Waterman girl through and through. If you cut me open, I bleed Kylie, Mel and Kim, Jason, Rick Astley. I am an 88, 89 girl. And Elliot Broadfoot is in a musical written by Stock, Aitken and Waterman.
I am.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Tell us everything.
Oh wow, where do I start with this mammoth piece of theatre? So Actually Be So Lucky has been created by the wonderful Debbie Eistet, who created the Nativity franchise.
Okay.
She wrote and directed those and was given the task of taking the Hit Factory, the huge catalogue of that, lasted the test of time. This music has never died, and I don't think will. I don't think it's possible. This legendary music by Stock Aitken and Waterman, and has created this brand new story about love, and in all its forms, familial, platonic, soulmate, marriage, friendship. Every bit of love possible in the world. This story kind of encompasses. It's centered around a young woman called Ella and her fiance Nathan, and they are about to get married. But there are some wedding jitters in the air, and ultimately Nathan runs away at the altar, leaving Ella by herself. So her family and her friends pick her up and they say, right, we are taking you on your honeymoon. They travel to Turkey. Is there 6 of them? Yeah, the 6 of them. And when they're in Turkey, all of their lives are changed.
Wow.
Through the music of Stock Aitken and Waterman. And Debbie said when she first listened to the songs, the one thing she heard was that they represent all forms of love. There's heartbreak, there's new love, there's unrequited love, there's love that's maybe gone a bit stale through time and just needs a refresh.
There's love in the first degree.
There's love in the first degree.
See, come on, get me on a quiz. I will get 100%.
Well, when we're in Leeds, let's host a Stock Aitken and Waterman quiz.
Please.
But yeah, I mean, the music is. I was shocked at how much of it I knew.
Yeah.
And because I grew up in the age where Pete Waterman was a television judge for me.
Of course.
He was on Pop Idol.
Yes.
And so that's what I knew him as.
That's how you knew. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, as I grew up, I was like, oh my gosh, that he actually wrote and helped produce the most amazing pop hits of the 80s.
Yeah.
and the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly lucky in the show. I'm primarily in the ensemble, but
Yeah.
I cover one of the characters, Michael, who's the bride's best friend,
Right.
who struggles with love and finding it. Um, and the wonderful Scott Page, who has originated this role, is off in pantomime land at the moment. So I'm incredibly lucky that for the next three venues, I get to tell his story on stage. Um,
Wow.
which, when I got the offer through, was like, oh, okay, that's a
Wow.
big thing. And we're in Leeds,
Yes,
which
and
is,
we're coming to see you.
oh,
Oh
I'm
my
so
word, I'm
excited
not going to
to be back
manage
there.
at all. I think I'll just cry through the whole thing, or
Yeah,
sing, or both. Both.
both. Please do both. We're one of the few musicals where I think, unless it's a very serious storytelling moment, when you hear those songs that were written to get people on their feet
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and to just feel great,
yeah,
please join in.
yeah, yeah. Oh, there's no choice. There's absolutely no choice. And I mean, that's the thing. They all the songs are really joyous. Even then, when you're singing about, heartbreak, Jason Donovan singing Too Many Broken Hearts and all that, you're still
Yeah,
singing it while you're dancing around your handbag. It's
yeah,
a strange phenomenon, but
mm,
certainly for me, there are certain songs, some of Mel and Kim and Kylie, that they just get me back on my feet again, because they're full of joy and that
mm,
bounce and the pop. It's wonderful.
it
um
really is.
we're kind of slowly coming to the end of the podcast, and I know you're needing to protect your amazing voice so that you can do all that you need to do. Just tell me, because you have met some real stars in the last month or so, what is it
Mhm.
like?
It's so surreal.
Yeah.
Um, the moment Kylie Minogue opened the door to our rehearsal studios and ran in, I have never experienced that feeling before. I cried, which I never thought I would, because I love Kylie's music, but I'm not a mega stan
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
kind of followed her career. But I forgot actually how much it probably means to me musically.
yeah, yeah,
There's not probably been a year of my life where her music hasn't been important.
yeah,
And there's very few artists, I think, who have that.
yeah,
So to have her, you know, as far away from me as that chair is,
yeah, yeah,
in the flesh, watching the work that we've created for her music, the music that, skyrocketed her into fame, where she's now headlining a show in Vegas.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was a really special day. And the fun thing about it is she has a little part in our show.
Oh, wow.
So if you're coming to see it,
Yeah.
you'll get to spend the evening with Kylie as well, which
Oh,
is even more
wow.
exciting.
That is
Yeah,
exciting. And
yeah.
and did you get to talk to her, or was it literally come in for 10 minutes, watch, and then she needed to go
No, no,
kind of
she
thing?
spent an entire day with us. It was
Wow.
really, really wonderful. And she's so kind, and she was very emotional watching it, and she thanked us for, telling this story, and she was very moved, I think, because she's watching the music of her life
Yeah, yeah, she is.
being being played out on stage by a generation of people who, some won't have experienced that music for the first time. They're experiencing it secondhand.
Yeah,
And some who grew up through it. Our cast is so diverse in age, ethnicity, size, gender. And so, you've got a real melting pot of people who are like, oh, like, this is my Kylie memory. This is my Kylie
yeah, yeah, yeah,
memory.
yeah. It's like the
Um,
Osborne
yeah,
books. That's not
yeah,
my Kylie. She's too
no,
shiny.
yeah. And but yeah, she was just so lovely. What a cupcake. It was
Oh,
just, yeah, it was a really, really special day to be in the room with one of the iconic artists who helped us be where we are now with the show.
yeah. And I think it's just going to become the norm for you. I think you're going to meet more and more people. And it's so important to see the heart of them as well and not get starstruck, because they've been on the journey that you've been on. They've been on that rebirth, that implosion, and the graft, whatever it is. Even if they've had money to get into it, my goodness, it's just not an easy industry, is it?
No, not at all.
So I know that they will be blessed by meeting you as well, and you need to remember that you've still got things to give those people, as huge as they are. I think that's really important. We're nearly at the end of our episode, Elliot. It's been fantastic. I've loved talking to you. We've got 2 more things to do. One is we always set a challenge to the listeners. So I think my challenge for you this time is, where do you need to kick the door down? What is it that you're being told you need to do, and you know it in your heart, and it's sat there, and actually this is the time to actually shine? And if you know that's you, get in touch with me and we can have a chat, or talk to a trusted friend. I would say get in touch with Elliot, but he's way busy at the moment. And you can get in touch with Kylie, but you should be so lucky, is what I can say. But have a pray, have a think, and if we can support you in any way in doing that thing that you know has been on your heart all this time, and you know it's your time to shine, and it seems everything's stacked against you, get in touch and let's see if we can get you on that beginning journey. Elliot, have you got anything to add to that?
I think if you're at a point where you feel that you're at rock bottom, I'd advise just at nighttime looking up, and you'll see something shining, and know that that'll be you when the time is right.
Love that. Love it. Okay, we come to the most difficult bit now, because I always write a poem on the spot for every guest. So just give me a minute, and this could get emotional, as we both know. Let's see how we go. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, you don't just hang up there. A rebirth makes you what you are, and it isn't always fair. There's explosions, and it gets too hot, and it gets too hard. It's a struggle. And you look around and you just can't see. And really, you just need a cuddle. And then someone comes and they say, you're a star. And you start to believe from within. And then your heart grows. And then your head knows that this is the time to begin.
Thank you.
Love you, Elliot. I'm so proud of you. And it's been just an absolute privilege to talk to you where you are now. It always has been, but just so proud of you. Well done.
Thank you. Thanks.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. From Star of the song This World Needs You. Massive shout out to Vanessa Ferrero, who did all the production for us and really helped me to believe that I could pull it off. Thank you to every single member of the cast who recorded this maybe 15 years ago now and did it so brilliantly. This World Needs You. Enjoy.
This world won't be such an exciting place without your face, with a human